And we are live. What is up, everybody? Aaron the Dog back with the LFA 158 breakdown, headlined by the vacant lightweight championship between JeanPaul Lebosnoyani and Jacoby Jones, as well as 6 other fights, so 7 total fights, live from Chandler, Arizona. Right off the bat, this will be the last breakdown of the week, but glad to be back. Hopefully the LFAs are back to stay now that I am moved up here. But should be a good show here. Just going to be me. Might be Lucky Locks in the future or others. So we shall see. But the LFA keeps rolling. Only doing the main card as usual. And starting off with pretty good prospect, in my opinion, in Ivan Tena. Out of Arizona. We're going to see a lot of guys fighting out of the MMA lab tonight. Ivan the Titan, El Titan Tena, taking on Riley Weissman, who took on Jacoby Jones and got taken out in about 2.5 minutes from a knee and a straight right that opened up a pretty bad cut. Wasn't a great showing for Riley. Overall, Riley known for his grappling. If there is something he's known for, all 4 of his wins, both amateur and as a pro, coming by way of submission, 2 rear naked chokes in there. Hasn't faced a great level of competition up until Jacoby Jones. Second fight with the LFA there. His first fight was a debutante. So overall, the striking definitely lacking for Riley. Not sure he's going to be able to get this down. Ivan Tena has pretty good wrestling himself, doesn't use it as much, kind of uses his wrestling to explore it on the feet. Went back and watched a lot of his fights. Really, really entertaining guy, very good, accurate puncher. For the most part, likes to keep the fights on their feet. The Roberto Romero Hernandez fight was an insane pace that Roberto Romero Hernandez had in that fight. I think he threw like 120 strikes in the first 7 minutes and kind of kept that pace throughout. It was still a split decision. It was an absolute war. Really good fight. I'll be interested to see what happens with him as well. Rebounded. He does use his jiu-jitsu pretty well once it gets down to the ground. On the feet, he kind of is forcing his opponents to shoot often. I see that kind of happening here with Riley. Riley is a little bit lengthy, but I also think Ivan has a pretty good length. Just only 24 years old as well, making his LFA debut here. I expect pretty big things out of Ivan. He's a minus 600 favorite. I get it. 5'11" is Ivan, by the way, 6 foot. So Riley slightly taller as he is usually at this weight, but still good matchup, I think, for Ivan to make a debut here. What up, Zach? And I'd like to see the guy he fought his split decision against, Roberto Hernandez, also eventually fight at this level. Go check out that fight on YouTube. Most of Ivan's fights, both as an amateur pro, are on YouTube. So I do think Ivan's a real deal. Minus 600, I don't have an interest in, but I think he should probably finish Riley inside of the first round. Next fight. Really good fight, very, very competitive fight, clash of styles fight that has very odd line movement and now isn't available on my book as of now. But Eric Miconico taking on Eric Miconico taking on Kevin Philippi. Kevin Philippi, striker, Eric grappler, Mexicano. Still only 29 years old, 6-5 record, as salty as they come. Out of Glover, training with Rex team now, but has trained with Glover in the past as well. Pretty much goes in there and wants to strike. Has been a welterweight most of his career. Went up to middleweight in his last fight, which was 38 seconds against 0-0 David Wright, who came in with a lot of hype himself. It was just kind of a car crash style fight. Philippi won it. Philippi has some kickboxing experience as well. Has a really boring title fight against Rodrigo Caballero over with Max Fight 24. He did go 5 rounds. I'll give him that, but was really just kind of frustrated by the 39-year-old who made him look slow. And now he's moved up to middleweight. Looks like the speed shouldn't be as much of an issue. Also not facing a great striker at all in Eric Macanico. Sorry. Overall, this fight kind of just is who can keep the fight where they want it to. And I think that's why the line has shifted to a pick'em essentially in this one. But Eric is out of MMA Lab. A lot of guys out of MMA Lab for this card. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. They have like 4 or 5 guys, I think, on the main card alone. And that might be good. It might also result in some fighters kind of slipping through the cracks more than others. And that's just kind of an interesting X factor overall in this fight for me. But Eric looked pretty bad against Freddie Sandoval in his last fight, 5-7. Had two low blows in that fight as well, which I think significantly affected the fight. Got a point taken. The gym is near the event. It's taking place in Zach. It's in Chandler, Arizona. So I think it's relatively close to where MMA Lab is. And most Arizona events for LFA, they kind of stack them anyways. But you look at the guys Macanico's faced 0-0, 1-1, 1-0, 1-0. And then the steps up in competition. Dejan Kajak, he is now 15-7. So he was 10-7 at the time. He's continued to kind of go on a late run in his late 30s. And, just still facing good competition over at BFL. So not as bad of a loss as it looks. Andre Walker, 5-3, knocked out as well. So he's been knocked out in both his losses. Striking is definitely where he has trouble. Was supposed to go against Billy Elkanah. Got it moved to this 6-5 Kevin Philippi. I love Kevin Philippi when it originally opened up because Eric was a minus 400. But Philippi, I think, is the side I'm going to side with here. I do think it finishes inside the distance, either by submission or by strikes. Kevin has been submitted before, and he got submitted by a pretty shallow rear naked choke, like neck crank as well. So I could definitely see Eric submitting him. I haven't gone to a ticket window yet, but I'm taking Philippi as of now, and it's not available on my book yet, but Philippi has moved to minus 115 favorite, minus 105 on Eric Monaco. And Zach mentioning the hometown love, and definitely a good point. Arizona's pretty clean for the most part. They've had a lot of cards, but MMA Lab's got some legit guys in there too, and I don't think they'd be putting them all on the card if they didn't know what they were doing. Cedric Kadawamba, taking on Austin Worms here. Cedric, another guy out of MMA Lab, 32-year-old kind of prospect, I guess. He's just late into the MMA world, but looks to have some decent promise to him. Coming off of a weird fight with Alex Martinez, where Alex Martinez had a rib injury 40 seconds into the fight, caught Cedric kind of early on in a little bit of a guillotine, got him into the grappling, which is not where Cedric wants to fight. Austin Worms, although he's 5-5, best known for, and nickname Star Killer, best known for his arm bars. You see the arm bar finishes, 3 straight of them back in 2021 and 2022, with the last one being against most notably Jacoby Jones, Chris Renteria as well with LFA. So he is 2-1 with LFA. Loss coming to Lucas Clay, who's one of the top in the entire organization, a very legit guy. And then Bobby Moffitt in his last fight, no shame there as well with Freedom Fight. So he's taken very, very high level of competition in his losses. Flavian Pilgrim, not a bad guy at all. Ernesto Rodriguez, not terrible. And then, 2-0 Renteria, 3-0 Jacoby Jones, Lucas Clay, Bobby Moffitt, now Cedric Kadawamba. Cedric, 32 years old, as I said, out of the Republic of Congo, now fighting with the MMA Lab and Arizona Combat Sports as well. Adam Garcia, sorry, not Alex Garcia. James Hay, all 3 of his fights have been with LFA as a pro, going to a decision in 2, and then the injury. He's very, very technical, very good, but I still kind of question the overall game, the grappling aspect of his game, especially. Austin is very, very live, in my opinion, here. I think this is a step down in competition for Austin. If he can get it down to the grappling realm, I think Austin could get this submission. But Cedric on the feet should also have a significant edge. So this is one that for me, it's dog or pass. I will take Cedric to get the decision, but I understand people are taking a shot on the Austin sub. I don't know why else you would take a shot on it, honestly. So moving on to the next fight, really good fight at the flyweight division here. Apagoa taking on Umberto Duarte. This is going to be like every Apuni fight so far in the LFA. I think it's going to be a war. Really, really good southpaw fighter. Switches stances very, very well. Very technical. He's been tested through his amateur career, winning 2 titles as an amateur, and through his pro career. 1 pro loss coming to Miguel Sanson, which was a very close fight where the wrestling came in. Duarte, the Mexican-American fighter here, 33 years old, 5'4", also fighting out of Arizona. 2 losses, 1 coming by sub, and that was in his debut in about 30 seconds. So since then, he is 5-1. Faced a pretty low level of competition for the most part. Been in Combate Global for a few fights, and then not with the most notable of competition. Has gone to a few decisions. Decent striker as well, though. I just think Apuni is much more technical than most of the guys he's facing. He fights out of Extreme Couture as well, so he's one of the Hawaiians who fights out of Extreme Couture. There's a group of about 5 to 7 of them. The Brad Tavareses and others. His brother also fights out of Extreme Couture. Just a really sharp guy. The Miguel fight was extremely close, really good for both guys. Has looked very sharp since then. The finish of Federico Flores, nicely done. The 12-second finish in his debut. He's fought his whole career with the LFA. The Dylan Cox fight, he was in control start to finish. I think this looks similar, and I think he does get back into the finish column. I think Umberto is very aggressive. So I think he gives Umberto his first KO loss. So I got Upune. I think he is a parlayable piece for your weekend if you would like. He is currently, last I checked, let me see, it at minus 400. So it has shifted. I got him at minus 280. But yeah, minus 400, a little bit steep at this point. So might stay away, but I do think Pagoa gets it done and gets it done handily. All right. Co-main event time. Anho taking on Edwin de los Santos. Props to Edwin de los Santos, another guy like Austin Verms, does not say no to fights, a Caspel syndrome, as we call it. Coming off the Amer Hernandez fight. Amer did win all 3 of those rounds, but I thought Edwin did show some really good skills. His Muay Thai, legit. The leg kicks, if he gets those quick going early and often, I think could really be in his favor in a fight like this. I think this fight will be fought in that range at the times when An decides to strike, and An switching to the grappling and the wrestling. He did show, especially in his last fight with the Mongolian fighter, that he is definitely a legitimate grappler. Has a few rear naked chokes as an amateur. Got a beautiful heel hook finish in the last fight after really pushing the grappling pace. MMA Lab representative again in Anho, and I think that of the guys on the MMA Lab, this guy is going to be getting the A team if there is kind of that going on for this preparation for this event. Anho is a very prized prospect for that gym, and I think rightfully so. He had nearly 100% striking accuracy also in that fight. He was at like 98% through the first 6 minutes. Just really impressive. Good power, good variety, goes to the grappling when he wants to, and good on the ground as well. So Edwin de los Santos, my best quality I can give him is he's very, very tough, good on with the Muay Thai. But I just think if he does choose to stand, if he starts to have any sort of trouble, he's going to pick up on Edwin and engage in the grappling. So Anho, another guy I like, another favorite, and he's also at minus 425. So unfortunately, if you just throw the juice favorite Anho, Ivan and Pagoa together gets you to just about even money. So yeah, that's a little bit rough there, but I do like those 3 favorites in this one. So give me Anho, Edwin de los Santos. Props to you. Face a good level of competition. So definitely could spring the upset, but I need more than toughness to find my way to ticket window there. Main event, Jacoby Jones, a guy who I've broken down a lot with Lucky Locks and elsewhere. Austin Verms, his one slip up there in about a minute, got caught in that arm bar. He's now going against JeanPaul Lebosnoyani, which is not an easy name to say. So JeanPaul it is. JeanPaul is a very good grappler. We saw it in his debut against Caleb Hall, who missed weight by 6 pounds. Mufasa still put him in a scarf hold and finished the arm lock pretty impressively. Chad George is his coach as well. Very good former MMA fighter. He's grappled with Cody Steele, even though he lost. It was in overtime. Grappled with Gordon Ryan as an 18-year-old. Very impressive as well. As an amateur, submitted everybody except for the one knockout. But he does have good stand-up. He's a Muay Thai style striker, very diverse in his strikes as well. I think that the stand-up will be very interesting, especially with how Jacoby Jones has looked as of recently in his last couple. But, on the ground is clearly where JeanPaul has the advantage. And he's a finisher down there, finisher in round one in a lot of these fights and in the grappling circle. So I just think that Jacoby the 26-year-old, he has to not use his wrestling for the most part in this one. Has to really go back to, even though his foundation is wrestling out of Factory X in Denver, that the cardio will be there. This guy used that cardio on the feet. He did get a finish in his last fight of Christian Turner on the ground, but it's pretty competitive on the feet as well. Christian Turner, yes, is a young fighter, but a good level of opponent and a good win for Jacoby there. The Riley Weissman fight, he absolutely decimated him, and I don't think that's too relevant. Beat Caleb Hall, beat Logan Paxton, and Logan Paxton, another guy who made that very competitive and used his jiu-jitsu. That's where my worry is for this. I'll be honest, I saw Jacoby Jones at plus 155. I've really thought about it because I do think that the Verms fight was a little bit – the Verms fight and the Paxton fight I think taught him a lot. He had a submission loss as an amateur as well, and that came very quick as well to John Nelson. So it's just I'm very, very worried if he's going to be able to avoid getting it down to the ground, particularly early. And JeanPaul is an early finisher with the grappling. He's a very opportune finisher, and he has 5 rounds here as it's a title fight. On the feet, it's very, very close. I do think that Jacoby has the power edge. I think JeanPaul has the diversity edge, speed to be determined. Jacoby has good wrestling defensively. I'm interested to see how it looks here against JeanPaul. If the defensive wrestling is there, this is a very close fight. I need the number to be a little wider for me to get there on Jacoby Jones. What up, Jack? I need the number to be there a little bit wider on Jacoby Jones. I'm looking for plus 180 or more. I'm taking a shot at then. As of now, it's dog or pass. And I will make my official pick JeanPaul by sub. However, I do think that Jacoby Jones really does have the power to put away JeanPaul. I think that this could go to a decision and be a close one, a split type of affair. So the minus 205 doesn't make sense to me either. So, really good fight. I'll take JeanPaul. And really quick, I'll go over the 7 fights on the main card. We'll call it a day here. But really excited about this LFA. Really glad to be back, being able to do a full video. So thank you to Zach. Thank you to Alex, Jack, everybody else who's joining me, who's not in the chat. All good here. But Ivan Tena versus Riley Weissman. I got Ivan Tena. I got him by KO round 1. Eric Mokaniko versus Caven Philippi. This one really close. I'm going with Philippi by KO right now. But Macchio definitely could get the sub. I don't know why they have this prelim chance and Joe Stafford there, but Cedric Catawamba and Austin Verms. I've got Cedric by decision, but Austin by sub. Very, very live again there. Umberto Duarte versus Aputure Apagoa. I got Aputure Apagoa by knockout. I think there's a lot of finishes on this card. I think we got some legit talent. Anho versus Edwin de los Santos. I got Anho, and I got him to finish this one. I'm going to say by submission. And then JeanPaul Lebosnoyani versus Jacoby Jones. Man, what up, Fernando? And then the legend himself coming to check out LFA breakdowns. Fernando, you got any fights coming up, man? It's been too long, but we don't have to free Fernando Padilla anymore. He has been freed. Good to see you, my friend. Main event. I know I said JeanPaul by submission. That's what my brain's saying. My heart is saying Jacoby Jones by decision. And I feel like Fernando Padilla showing up right there is the sign. I'm going to go with Jacoby Jones, and I'm going to go with him by decision here. So, yeah, it's all good, Fernando. Take it easy, man. JP is a monster, so I shouldn't go with Jacoby is what you're telling me. All right. JeanPaul by submission, as I said before. JeanPaul by submission. Now, let me not overthink this. My brain has JeanPaul by submission. Fernando has not steered me wrong yet. I'm going to go with JeanPaul Lebosnoyani by submission. Let me not overthink this. Levels above a guy like Austin Verms or John Nelson. So, no. Fernando, I just said I was going with JeanPaul, and then I've been back and forth. I'm a fan of Jacoby. I like Jacoby Jones for some reason. He's an LFA old school guy, but I'm going JeanPaul by submission. It's Jacoby's weakness, and yeah, Jack, hope you're an underdog again next time so we can cash that money. But that's going to do it for the LFA breakdown show here. Shout out to Fernando Padilla. I'm glad I stuck on for one more second so he could pop in here and just say hello. But shout out to Fernando Padilla. Shout out to Jack. Shout out to Zach. Shout out to Alex. Shout out to Moise, everybody supporting in the Rebecca Dome. Thank you so much. Appreciate you all. And good luck this weekend on your fights, on the LFA, on the UFC. I think there is 5-6 underdogs between the two this weekend. We're going to make some money. So good luck. And then more money to be made for the Jack Attack. And then, yeah, you like the background? Don't worry. It's not real, Fernando. We do a little moving. So we're still in the process of building up here. So I'm in the piano lounge, but thank you all. Take care. Talk to you soon. Peace.